Hey YouTube, it's Grace, and this video is a time-lapse of me making the Skull on Fire painting from Minecraft. I actually timed myself this time, and it ended up taking 12.5 hours to complete. The canvas I used was 36 by 36 inches, and I used acrylic paint. While you watch this video, I wanted to share a little bit of a story with you. A couple months ago, I was commissioned by someone in France to make the Wither painting, which you probably saw on YouTube. And I was really excited because this was pretty much the third international painting commission I had ever received. But unfortunately, about halfway through making this painting, I found out that I had COVID. I was lucky enough that my physical symptoms weren't too bad, but it definitely messed with my head a lot, and it took a bit of a toll on my mental health. I tried to continue working on the painting as a distraction, but ultimately ended up in bed for the better part of 2 weeks. One thing I've always been really proud of is my fast turnaround time for commissions. I always complete them and get them shipped to the customer in a timely manner because that's exactly what I would want an artist to do if the roles were switched. Having to delay this whole process by nearly 2 weeks made me feel really guilty, like I was wasting the customer's time, and I was really frustrated with myself for getting sick even though I was doing everything I could to avoid it. So when I finally tested negative, the first thing I did was drive straight to the post office to ship off the painting and apologize to the customer for the inconvenience. He was so extremely kind and understanding throughout this whole process, which I am so grateful for, but I still felt bad because I wanted to do better and I knew that I could have done better. A couple weeks after I shipped the painting, I woke up to a message from the customer, and the message basically said the painting had been damaged in the mail, and he sent some photos, and from what the photos looked like, it was not looking great. I had spent over 12 hours on this painting, and the customer had already waited weeks longer than promised, so I was kind of freaking out a bit at this point because everything was just going wrong. So I immediately jumped out of bed, got my receipts and my customs forms, and drove straight to the post office without even getting dressed or brushing my hair, I'm pretty sure. Upon getting there, I explained my problem to an employee and was hoping that I could file an insurance claim because I always ask for insurance when I go there to ship my paintings. They told me that I had to file online and that if that didn't work for some reason, that I could come back and we'd figure something out. So I drove all the way across town back home and then went to the USPS website and started filing a claim, but was pretty quickly met with an error message. It basically just said that for some reason my package wasn't eligible for an insurance claim, and I was really confused. So I drove all the way back to the post office, all the way across town again, explained myself to the post office employees again. I probably spoke to around 3 different people at this point before one of them finally explained how there was no possible way for me to file a claim since the order was international. I knew that the right thing for me to do was to offer a full or at least partial refund to the customer, but that would mean me losing several $100s plus the shipping cost on a painting that I had already spent days making. But there was nothing else that I could do, and at this point I had pretty much lost all hope and I was holding up the line at the post office, so I just went back to my car and started crying. About a minute later, a lady who was parked nearby got out of her car, came up to me, kind of knocked on my window. She asked if she could help me, and I explained my situation to her, and she actually offered me a bit of money, and I said no so many times, but I was crying so hard, she just kind of made me take it. Then she gave me a hug and looked me in the eye and just said, "Keep going." And that's something that I will probably never forget because this is literally the nicest thing that any stranger has ever done for me. And I promised her that I would, and thanked her a million times and wished her happy holidays, and then we pretty much just parted ways. The next day, I managed to get in touch with the customer again, and then learned that the damage wasn't quite as bad as I had originally thought. The canvas itself wasn't ripped, the frame was just kind of bent and the corner was split in a weird way, and he was able to bend it sort of back in place so it wasn't completely destroyed, which is really good because I was so worried. And even though I offered him a full refund, he said he didn't want that, so I offered him a partial refund and he said he didn't want that either. He just wanted a discount on another painting. So we worked something out, and that's actually the painting you're watching me make right now. I didn't think to get the name of the lady who helped me in the post office parking lot, otherwise I would have given her money back because I didn't end up needing it. So I made a promise to myself that the next time I saw someone else struggling that I would pass it on to them. The last 2 months of 2022 were mentally some of the hardest times that I've been through in a very long time, but the kindness that I was shown during those times, both from the lady in the post office parking lot and from the customer who was so kind and understanding throughout this entire process, gave me a little bit of hope that there are still good people in the world and that hard times won't last forever.